I actually feel like the government don't actually know what to do
100%
to help the industry.
Yeah.
So there's like we're almost not going to give money if we don't know what it's going to be for.
100%.
And I think that there should be a lot of work done with that, with consultation with the people, the peak bodies within the industry, which. But with the impacts of COVID as well, like you're saying, like when are people in the industry supposed to have taken a break, right? Because everyone knows how decimated the industry's been, especially with live music and everything else. So it's like, well, actually, I'm not doing this because I know that working for 16 weeks straight is a good thing. I'm doing this because I actually need to put money on the table.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's like and that's where I think government and big organizations, that's where they need to step in, because it's like you're talking about mental health and you're putting more money into mental health than ever, but how are you going to help those people who the things that you're expecting them to do they can't do because they need to they need to bring the money in. So
it does feel like especially the government in Australia, they don't prioritize art though.
No, not at
it
all.
definitely prioritize building units, but
yeah, definitely. No, there's been a massive shift in, I mean, like, there was always some support for the arts industry, but there was a massive shift just before COVID hit, and then obviously when COVID hit, and there was just
decreasing now.
no real support.
No.
Yeah,
I don't know what
nightclubs, they shut nightclubs down as much as they can, like the lockdowns. It's definitely like, I feel like, at least Sydney, that's what I see. I don't see the rest of the country, but it definitely feels like there's like almost sounds over the top, but like a fight against art here. In a way, like, that the lockouts shut down all the clubs. I mean, like the clubs, it's still get drunk and get wasted, which doesn't help mental fitness anyway.
Sure.
But we have rules in place for that. You know what I mean? There's RSA guidelines, and if you're not sticking to them, then that's on the onus of the venue, of the managers. That's on them.
Yeah,
and
they're heavy fines.
And they're heavy fines. So you'd be unsmart to ruin that. And they're so quick to give out those fines as well. Oh my god.
We were both in bars. Woo! And then the people get angry at you too.
Yeah.
They'd be like, it's my right to drink. I'm like,
it's like drink.
No, read. This is the opposite.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, no,
you show me your set of printed out guidelines.
We'd have people
that
abuse
that.
us.
Yeah.
Absolutely abuse us for breaking the rights. And I'm just like, what the crap?
Yeah, but it's beyond that, there's still a reason that people want to go out. People don't just want to go out and get absolutely trolley. People want to go and see live music. People want to go and see DJs play and stuff like that. So it's I personally feel like there's been a massive attack on the arts industry.
Yeah. I don't know what you guys feel with the government piece, absolutely hearing what you're saying about kind of what feels like an attack on the scene. With the funding piece as well, I actually feel like the government don't actually know what to do
100%
to help the industry.
Yeah.
So there's like we're almost not going to give money if we don't know what it's going to be for.
100%.
And I think that there should be a lot of work done with that, with consultation with the people, the peak bodies within the industry, which didn't really happen with lockouts until towards the back end of it.
So basically people marched and basically demanded it.
And it shouldn't take
that for
it's a complex issue though, because it's like it's a big cycle, like I don't know about the rest of this country, but I know in Sydney it's like you do a unique show and people are like, oh, I gotta go out, I'd rather stay home at Netflix. Like it's so much on the art, like there's a responsibility on the artists. Like, how do you make Australians, or at least Sydney-siders, give a shit to come and to pay to see you?
But I feel like
it's a big cycle of venues as well, helping venues like little bars survive so that they can afford to have artists come and play. There's so many parts into it. I don't think there's an easy answer. Even if the government threw money at it,
not at all.
It's not going to help the problem.
And it wouldn't be a super quick change as well. This, like you said, it's a systemic change, so it would take time.
100%.
But
it broke down slowly, and I think it'll be built up slowly.
Yeah, but it's not like there's a lack of, sources or what's the word?
Resources?
No. you know, like.
We're having another Windows shutting
Another
down.
mind
mate.
blank, yeah.
Every time. Like lawyers use it when they're like referencing like a case studies. You know,
case studies.
There's a
Okay.
whole bunch of, you know, other
never gonna guess
countries that like the live music industry and the music industry is so, you know, well funded, and you know, it's the idea of why you go out and how you go out. It's not like there's nothing for us to, you know, grasp on and work towards, you know. And yeah, if you, like you said, like if you had those industry people in there with the government, you know, yeah, of course the government's like, well what do we, you know, sure we can give you money, but what's it going to do? Where's it going to go? But it's like, well, okay, well, yeah, sit down with us. Like, don't just brush it aside because
or
you
decide
think,
yourself. Like this whole live music fund that they're putting together, like getting live music back, and you're like, that's fair enough, and totally agree that we need to bring live music back, but it's almost like you're just kind of in that sentence when you're talking about that, ignoring the fact that the pandemic's still going on. It's like, yes, we can bring it back, but we can still only do restricted numbers. We can still do this, and it's like, you know, where's the gap that you're going to fill between selling out a 30 cap show versus what would have been a 500 show?
100%.
Yeah. Well, another point with the issue, I think, which just came to mind. I remember with my shows back in the day, they hated live shows at the venue, which we will not name, because they said as soon as the show starts, like alcohol sales stop because everyone's watching the show, and like so the venue's like, the more live music we have, the less money we make because people are there to watch the live show. So what I was trying to like build after that, because obviously, like, again, this is where artists can help go, all right, speak to the venue, but also the venues have to talk to them, because the venues, I find, in my experience, they didn't. Because I'll be like, all right, even though I sold out that show back in, like, the first big one, they didn't want to put me back on because they're like, we didn't make much money at the bar. And I'm like, you also put me on a Sunday because you wouldn't give me another day. And I sold out a Sunday.
Right.
And I go, all right, tell me, how do I help you win? Because if you win, I win, we all win.
Yeah.
That was like pulling teeth out of them.
Yeah.
Like they just couldn't grasp the concept that an actual artist might have a business brain. And then I was figuring out a way to like, I'm like, first of all, I need a Saturday. Help me sell it out. And then I'll have a DJ event after. And people drink when there's a DJ event after.
Yeah.
And
that's it. It's the out of the box thinking, right? It's not going, okay, we're going to have alcohol sales and then we're going to have a show and that's it. It's like, you know, there's obviously income streams for you with like merch and stuff. But so think about it in that way for the venue. It's just like, can we do prepackaged food plus ticket deal, or prepackaged drink and or can we do something else entirely? But it's that lack of people going, oh no, we can't do that. We sell drinks and we have music, and that's what it's like. No, we need to challenge that and look at different ways of being able to bring it in so that live music can continue and it's not all dependent on how much money is taken over the bar.
Yeah, and I think it's really important. We speak all the time. A lot of artists don't have that business mindset because they're creatives, and that's
100%,
totally cool. But they need to start putting that hat on, because I remember a friend of mine had a spot at a bar. It was like a 3-piece show, and that was an actual gig. They were getting paid $400, but they had a minimum requirement of bringing 20 people in, which was $20 a ticket. They were outraged. They go, it's not our responsibility, it's their responsibility to bring people in. It's like, No. The reason that Justin Bieber gets a stadium show is because he fills that stadium from his hard work.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important, and it will help with mental fitness, because guess what makes people feel good? When they're achieving shit.
Yeah.
And I think that's where everyone needs to start thinking, like, you know, we say it like it's an easy thing, but it's a very complex, like it's a real chicken and egg scenario.
That business brain bit though is a really interesting one for me. So, you know, on the creatives piece, we want the creatives to create and give them the opportunities, the maximum opportunity to create the best work that they can. But there is a business piece. And so for those that have representation with, you know, agents or managers or whatever, there's a responsibility on them to be. And sometimes agents or managers are just a mate or somebody who's just helping out. And that's one of the things that we're planning for 2021 with Listen Up, is we're going to be doing a 2-day retreat, which essentially is going to be a combination of music streams, but not just your usual songwriting camp stream. And on the mental health side, not let's do yoga in the morning and then give them some nice food at lunch. It's like, no, let's weave the whole thing through it. But a key part of that is going to be educating people on the business side.
Yeah.
And going, if you don't want to do that yourself, you've either got to take responsibility that, you know, there's some things that are going to be missing from your product or, you know, when you put it out there. So if you don't want to go, get your representation to go, or even get somebody who's in your camp to do that stuff, so that when those questions come up,
somebody can
you've
answer
got someone that that can answer it. And I think that business education part is
That's
real
important. Yeah, because I mean, like even like I went to a college to study music, and there was modules on the business, some modules on the business, which was great. It wasn't enough.
Nah.
It wasn't like, you know, of course I studied audio engineering and sound production, and that's great. You know what I mean? That's what I wanted to do. But it wasn't until I went in to like obviously create my own job, because I mean, how easy is it to just, you know, walk into a studio like, you know, I guess like 301 or something, and like spend all your time interning, and then, you know, slowly build your way up to like being a part of the team, and then joining the team. And I understand that that's a process, and that is a process, you know, like you have to earn your stripes. I totally get that. That's such an important thing, and especially in such a business like a big studio, where there's certain elements and certain gear that, you know, we got to know that you're going to look after it before we start to pay you to be here. But, you know, majority of the jobs in this workforce are created yourself. Like
Especially with the internet, you don't have to go that traditional route.
No, you don't have to. But people also don't know what questions to ask and what things they need to know.
Yeah, they don't know what they don't know. That's the thing.
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly.
So, like as you said, with 301, they'll go through, they'll get all that training, they'll get all these pieces as they go, because that is essentially, it's a corporate, and they've got the structure and the team and everything else. For yourself, setting up on your own, it's like, where are the resources for people to make sure that they can learn those things? And because they don't know and nobody's telling them, they're just like, okay, I'll just continue to create. And then there's these people who release music, release it themselves through, you know, their own distribution, and they're just like, why did only like 15 people listen to it? Like, well, because you don't know the bits you don't know. It's not that you won't do them. It's like nobody's telling you. It's not obvious where to get this help.
Maybe there's like I don't know if there is or isn't, like a networking style thing, or like because I mean, when COVID hit, I work from home, and same thing. Excuse me. I noticed that I was bored. And also, I was getting angry as a result, because I'm just like, you know, and then just because of lack of finding out information, like Googling's great, but at the same time, just chatting to someone and going like, oh, like, you know, oh shit, I'd never even thought of that.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't even think to Google it. So I joined a business networking thing, and I've noticed like just how I am here, just huge jump, because again, but this is my personality. Not a lot of people like that. I'll see someone and I'm just like, hey man, like what's going on, blah, blah, blah. And I'm talking like suits that are millions of dollars, but I'm just like, I realized a lot of them are actually open to talking to it. Like even Stace went there. Stace went there the other Friday, and she was expecting to be like not liking it. And now she wants to go again next week, because she was like, that was fun, like chatting with people that earn a crap load of money. And you're like, oh crap, they're just a human.
Yeah, and you find with so many of them that they're happy to impart the things that they've done. It's just, there's not opportunities for those.
And if they're an asshole, who cares? You don't want to be their friend.
What have you lost? You've just realised that there's another asshole in the world.
Yeah, literally.
And I mean,
I've got 999 to go.
I mean, to the absolute credit, like 301 puts on the socials. Well, obviously not at the moment, but they put on the socials that we met at a couple of times, and you know that's a great place for people to, you know, interact with people in the industry. But then, you know, it's another step from just being in the same area and then going over and talking to those people. And, you know, you see somebody you recognize.
It's effort, though. It is effort.
Only through Instagram, and you're like, oh, just, you know, like, they're probably just wanting to, like, chill out and don't want somebody coming up to them being like, oh, hey, like, I saw you on Instagram, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's...
And there probably is sometimes like that, but again, you don't know until you talk to them.
You don't know until
Exactly.
you actually make that, make that decision to go and talk to them.
And also it's
100%.
it's also how you approach them. Like,
Oh,
if you
of course.
came up like, you know, like, P. Diddy, what's up? He's going to be like, all right, piss off, dude. Whereas he's like, hey, man, I love your shit.
Yeah.
Have a nice day.
Yeah.
Like,
Who doesn't want to hear that, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing as well, like Jamie, with the 301 socials, they are billed as like a networking social event. They call it a social because they don't want it to be stuffy and they don't want it to be uncomfortable, but it's an event for people to talk and get to know each other. And I think that the more of those that happen, otherwise you're going to go to a gig and you're going to be trying to network and talk to people either just before the act's coming on or when it's finished, and it's like that's not the right place for that to happen at all. But that's the only place that people really can do it.
And also be
100%.
careful of trying to sell too soon. That happens so much with, like, it's not just music, it's everything. Like, if you're meeting someone for the very first time,
you create a rapport.
do not say to them, here's my demo. Like, do not utter those words at all. Like,
it's there is an art to networking, 100%. You know,
and it's a strategy.
You build a rapport with someone. You know, you don't talk about the things you want to talk about straight away. Basically, it's just like you get to know someone, and you know, like over time, conversations here, conversations there, you know, and then once you have a rapport with someone, then you can, you know, delve. I was like, hey, look, I just wanted to ask you this one question. Like, what do you think about this? Or, you know, do you mind checking this out for me? You know, I just need a set of ears, blah, 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 you know? Like,
and it comes with experience of doing those things, right? And for people who work in corporate, they're in meetings all day, and it just happens that they don't go to a class where they learn how to network. They just by doing it. And if there's not opportunities for that to happen in music, then it's essentially like you going into some big school playground at a new school going, oh, who am I going to talk to? What am I going to say? Like, am I going to make any friends?
Itself,
like, you know?
that in itself is a skill that's learned too. And like you learn by crashing fucking hard at first. Like, you know? It's like, but it's in itself, like, meeting artists, meeting people, schoolyard, like you said, like the first few times. But then once you realize the worst thing that can happen is them being an asshole, and you're like, okay, I mean, I'm still alive. That's cool.
Yeah. But also realizing as well that they're probably feeling exactly the same thing, going, oh my God, someone's coming up to talk to me. Oh my God, what am I going to say? And you're like, even just joke about that and just go, hey, this is super awkward. Like me coming up and saying, can you be my friend?
That can backfire though. That can backfire. It backfired for me last year. I met one guy from Logan Paul's crew, and I never get starstruck, but for some reason my tongue started doing like backflips in my mouth. And I'm like blah blah blah, and I said a joke like, because I was sucking up so hard, I'm like, man, I feel like I'm trying to suck your dick, and I don't think it landed. Well, and he's like, oh, and I'm like, bye.
I feel like in that scenario, different words.
My tongue back. Oh, different words would have been so much better. Yeah. But again, I was like, the brain's doing this thing, the tongue's doing that. And I'm like,
maybe we should put a list together of like the do's and don'ts. One of them should be don't tell someone to suck the dick.
Yeah. That's.
I meant like I'm sucking up to you. Yeah. And it came out like that. I'm like, oh shit. And like, I mean, he's forgotten it well and truly by now. I haven't, as you can tell.
Exactly. And you won't until if you see him again, and then you can have one experience.
He'll be like, aren't you that guy that said to him? Just like,
oh my God.
Like, oh crap. But again, like, I mean, some people can let that instance plague them.
100%.
What's up? And thank you very much for watching that clip. Now make sure to hit that subscribe button because I have a hot wife.